Hi, I'm Dan Ellison with A1 Archery in Hudson, Wisconsin. And today I want to share with you a little tip on serving in your peep sight. One of the things that we've noticed over the years, if you're doing this at home, or some manufacturers bring to us pre-assembled bows, is a lot of time they use two knots to tie in their peep sight. And quite honestly, at A1 Archery, we find this unacceptable. And the reason being is knots on each end of the peep tend to slide, and they'll cause the peep sight to move a little up. Very, very ineffective when it comes to actually having a precision piece of equipment. A peep sight that moves 1/8 of an inch will really affect your shot by about 12 inches at 20 yards. So you can miss a deer or put a really bad shot on a deer just by having your peep sight move a little bit. So what we do is we serve on both sides of our peep sight. And what we call a whip finish knot that was actually developed by fly fishermen, we do that to finish the knot off, and that really holds well. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to move these two knots out of the way that came right from the manufacturer. And I take a piece of serving, a 21 thousandths or 28 thousandths piece of serving will work just fine. And what I do is I cut about 18 inches, 24 inches of serving off. You're not going to need that much, but it's just nice to be able to grab it and not become too short when you get to the end. What I do is I'm going to take a lighter and I'm going to just burn the edges of the serving so they don't fall apart or fray as I'm working with it. Burn them off. Now it's going to be easy to work with. So what I'm going to do is, you can see, is a strand, the 16 strand string. So it's two different colors, a tan and a green. And what I'm going to do is a split, as most peep sights now, they split the serving, or they split the string. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one split, the green, and I'm going to tie a little knot. I'm going to tie this knot about 1 inch above the peep sight. So I'm going to tie that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to serve around both strands. I'm going to do about 4 loops around. I'm going to leave my little tail of serving right here. I'm going to pull it tight. Now you can pull it tight with the pliers or with your hands. It's a lot easier with the pliers, but my hands are so calloused up from 20 years of doing this, it doesn't affect me anymore. So pull it tight. Now you can see I'm about 1 inch above the peep. So I'm going to go a couple more turns around. I'm going to put up just a little over a 1/4 inch wrap on it. Now I'm going to take my little tail that I got hanging here. I'm going to fold that out of the way, and I'm going to serve and keep that tail hanging out. I'm going to serve it all the way up to the peep sight. And about every 4 or 5 turns around, I'm going to pull it tight. Now as I get closer to the peep sight, it's going to get harder. So first thing you actually probably wanted to do was make a mark where your peep sight's at so it doesn't move, or so you know it doesn't move. Now I'm going to tie it all the way to the peep, pull it tight. So now I got it right where I want it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to push the serving through the bottom of the peep sight on one strand, and I'm going to loop it around. Now here on about a 1 inch peep sight, I'm going to put 3 to 4 loops around, and this will ensure that both sides stay connected and pull tight evenly. So now I got to the end of the peep sight, and now I'm going to put a couple more wraps around both strands of the peep sight now. So I go 3 loops around. Now I pull it tight. I'm kind of pulling it in the direction of the peep sight so that I can clean up all the gap. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go about another little over a 1/4 inch, because at the end I want it to match each knot to be about the same size on each side of the peep sight. So now what we're going to do, this is where we get this whip finish knot. What I do is I put my finger here and I make a loop, and I go around the string. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap around the string on the inside of that loop. And I'm going to do about 6 loops on the inside, and that's going to evenly match the knot I have on the other side of the Peep sight. Now I take that and I take my tail here, my end of my serving, and remember I'm in the center of my loop right here, and I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to hold it there. Now I'm going to take this loop and wrap around the serving. I'm going to hold it pretty tight, and I'm going to pull pretty tight, because at the end what I'm going to want to do, as you can see, I wrapped around it, around the serving here. I'm going to pull that tight. Now here's where you want pliers, and you want to pull very tight. So now you can see I have very little gap on each side of the Peep sight. That is not going to move. Now what I do is I take my razor blade, and I'm only going to cut the serving, so there's about 1/4 inch of serving on the end, on both sides. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my lighter, hold the flame away, because if you do touch the string, it will break a strand. I'm going to burn the ends, go slow, get it right next to the serving. And then what I do is I want to, while the serving is still hot and melting, I lay my finger on the serving and I kind of mushroom it out. And the reason why I do this is because if your serving was to get a little bit loose, that knot, or I'm sorry, where I burn the ends, will prevent it from going through the serving and coming apart. So that's it. That's a tech tip from A1 Archery. If you got any questions, feel free to call us at 715-386-1217 or visit our website at a1archerystore.com.